Hello and welcome to Sports Fan Entertainment as the Toronto Raptors bounce back and defeat the Golden State Warriors 123 to 109, leading the series now, leading the NBA Finals now 2-1. I believe I had this. I said at the end of my previous live stream, at the end of my previous post-game recap, that I had the Toronto Raptors bouncing back in this game and defeating the Golden State Warriors, whether or not Klay Thompson was going to play. Coming off of the last game, I knew that the well-coached Raptors, Nick Nurse, Kawhi Leonard, and company were going to come out ready to go, ready to win back the game that they lost in Toronto and get it done tonight. And ultimately, that is what happened. I honestly believe this, and a lot of people will disagree, and we can agree to disagree. But I honestly believe that even if Klay Thompson was out there tonight, that the Golden State Warriors would have lost this game. If you look at the Toronto Raptors tonight, a team that shot over 50% from the field, shot 45% from three, and shot 95% from the free throw line. 50, 40, 95. Okay, 50, 45, 95 even. This was a team that tonight was destined to win this game. They were hot. Oh my God, their fingertips were on fire. I saw steam coming off of the fingertips. And yes, Klay Thompson's presence defensively was sorely missed tonight. If he's on this team, I don't believe the Raptors score 123 points. I believe it's less than that. I do not believe that Danny Green is able to have the open three-pointers that he had and that he's 3 of 10 or that he's 6 of 10 from the three-point line. Yes, but I just believe the Raptors were going to be too hot tonight, and ultimately that they were. They were just on fire tonight, very similar to how they were in Game 1 in this series. I just felt this was a game that the Raptors were destined to win. We could agree to disagree on that, but regardless, at the end of the day, the Raptors now lead this series 2-1, and the Golden State Warriors are in trouble. And that doesn't mean that they're going to lose this series. I have the Raptors in 6 coming into this series. I have the Raptors in 6 now. But the next game is a must-win game for the Golden State Warriors. And whenever your next game is a must-win game, you are in trouble, right? That to me is being in trouble. It's a must-win. We have to show up now. That's what we absolutely have to do. So we're going to see what happens in the next game. But for tonight, the Raptors got it done. And you have to look at the conglomerate of the players for the Toronto Raptors tonight. And this is a team that only really ever plays 8 players. And tonight we only really got 7, as Norman Powell was a non-factor and only played 6 minutes. But the 7 players, each and every one of them, were integral to this win. Each of them showing up in different ways, but a lot of them showing up in terms of the score sheet. Let us start with Kyle Lowry, okay, who was very disappointing to me in Game 2, having fouled out, having his issues in that game, only being 4 of 11. This game, he showed up big time, as he was 8 of 16 from the field. He added 5 3-pointers, and all of them were absolute swishers, absolute momentum killers for Golden State again and again and again in this game, ending with 23 points, ending with 9 assists, giving 4 rebounds as well, coming down with even a steal and a block as well. Kyle Lowry was huge. But even next to him in the backcourt, Danny Green was huge as well. Again, I alluded to this earlier. 6 of 10 from the three-point line. This looked like the Danny Green of the San Antonio Spurs in 2013. My goodness, he was hitting everything. Even 2014, too. Don't forget about those back-to-back finals performances in which he was hitting three-pointers, killing LeBron James and the Miami Heat time and time and time again. He looked like that version of Danny Green tonight, and it was absolutely fantastic to see. He was another killer of the Warriors tonight. And Kawhi Leonard was a slow burn. Didn't have, he wasn't consistent throughout the game, but definitely had his stretches. And remember, I complained in game 2 in response to Kyle Lowry and Kawhi Leonard. When the Warriors are going to make their runs, and they're going to make their runs, you got to barrel down, get to the free throw line, make big shots. They didn't do that in game 2. They did that tonight, and they found others to help them do that tonight. Because Danny Green, although again he was very hot tonight, but he was 6 of 10 from 3. These were all, spot up 3-point shots. 5 of the 6 3-pointers must have been catch and shoot. The only one that wasn't was one where he did a pump fake, stepped forward, and then shot as the shot clock was winding down, and he somehow made that 3-pointer at the end of the third quarter. I know you know which one I'm talking about. So, yes, you're going to have to get them involved, but at the same time, you're going to have to force yourself. And Kawhi Leonard got to the free throw line, 10 of 11 from the free throw line tonight, and Kyle Lowry hit big shots. At the end of the day, it's going to be those two. Pascal Siakam also getting in there, and he was very aggressive early. He ended up with 18 points tonight, and he had, I want to say, 12 in the first half. So he definitely asserted himself early, whereas Kawhi Leonard and also eventually Fred VanVleet also got into the party and really asserted himself late. And then how about Serge Ibaka off the bench? Yes, only 6 points, but giving you 6 blocks. Now, 2 of them were goaltends, but who cares? There were still blocks on the stat sheet. There are still integral blocks for this victory, continuing to quell every run that the Golden State Warriors wanted to go on, and ultimately leading to this 123-109 victory. It was a great performance by the 7 Toronto Raptors. Not much from Norman Powell, a couple of minutes from Patrick McCaw, but nothing notable. We are talking about Siakam, Leonard, Gasol, Lowry, Green, Ibaka, VanVleet. Not one of them played poorly tonight. That's how the Raptors won this game. Gotta love that. It's great. You're now up 2-1. That is fantastic. However, the question for me is, will this happen again? And will it happen 2 more times, right? Because you're not going to get great games from your 7 players for the rest of this series, right? You may not even get it 1 more time for the rest of this series. You're going to have next game where Kyle Lowry can't hit a shot, or where Fred VanVleet can't hit a shot, or Marc Gasol's absent again, or Pascal Siakam struggling like he did in game 2. And the question is, in those moments, can the Raptors defeat the Golden State Warriors? And we're going to see, especially as they get Klay Thompson back and then eventually Kevin Durant back. But for right now, you got to love this victory. And again, I think if the Raptors are going to win this series, I'll give them a little more credit than I did in my previous video. I do think they can win in 7 or 6. Don't get me wrong, they can, but I wouldn't bet on that. I think they got to make sure this series is as quick as possible. To me, I'm going all out for game 4. Because if you win that game, you will most likely win the series. And I won't even say 100%. I'll let everyone else fall on that sword. If you want to go down and say, okay, the Raptors are up 3-1, this series is over, I'll let you fall on that sword. I'm not falling on that sword with Kevin Durant potentially coming back and probably coming back. But I'll tell you this, you would have to love their position with 2 games possibly in Toronto, maybe only 1. If I'm the Raptors, I want this series over in 5 games. I want it over in 5 games. I want to win game 4. I want to win game 5. And I want to party it up in Toronto. I want to party until the night ends. So great win for the Toronto Raptors tonight. As for the Golden State Warriors, you have to be disappointed, but at the same time, you probably expected this. But if I'm the Warriors, I'm very disappointed in one man tonight, and that's DeMarcus Cousins. He was unbelievably awful tonight for this basketball team. It was absolutely ridiculous. He was 1 of 7 from the field, only contributed 4 points. Let me see how many turnovers he ended up with. It was absolutely absurd. Ended up with 3 turnovers. And I thought he should have had a couple more because you saw them poking the ball out of his hands. And yes, it would be off of the Raptors player, but could have easily been off DeMarcus Cousins. He was lost tonight. For as good and as impactful positively as he was in game 2, he was as negatively impactful in this game. If they would have played Andrew Bogut more minutes, or if they had Kevon Looney, who again, let's not forget about Kevon Looney, who was out for the rest of these finals with a chest contusion, they would have been much much closer to the Raptors tonight. Maybe would have even won, but I won't go down that road. I still think they would have lost. But if Looney would have played tonight, let's just say Looney and Bogut would have been a lot better for the Warriors because Cousins was god-awful. They needed him to step up. They needed him to be a number 2 option next to Stephen Curry. And I know he's coming off of this torn quad, and I know he's still coming off of that torn Achilles from over a year ago. But, dude, apparently he went on an interview with ABC who was talking about, this is the moment I've been waiting for my entire career. In fact, my entire life. I can't wait for this moment. You choked. You didn't show up. You were riding off your high, laurels from game 2, and you didn't show up in this game. You were absolutely awful. They needed you to be the number 2. You weren't. Andre Iguodala stepped it up in the third quarter, so I won't be on him too much, but you would have liked more than only 11 points from Andre Iguodala today. He gave you 8 in the third quarter, but, virtually nothing everywhere else. Draymond Green hit a couple threes in the fourth quarter, but then it was too little too late. Sean Livingston only 1 of 4. We needed some mid-range jumpers from Sean Livingston tonight. Jonas Jerebko 1 of 6. We know he stinks. Alfonso McKinney, he tried to dunk late in the game when the Warriors still had a chance to come back. I thought they were going to have a nice little surge there. McKinney foolishly tries to dunk like he's LeBron James or something. My God, he gets fouled, misses 2 free throws. So he didn't step up. Andrew Bogut was good defensively, but Quinn Cook was awful defensively today. He was absolutely dreadful. He's one of the main reasons why Danny Green was going off. And I won't excuse Stephen Curry, and let's get to Stephen Curry now. Stephen Curry was fantastic today offensively, okay? 47 points, 14 of 31, 13 of 14 from the free throw line, 6 of 14 from three-point range. And my thing on Stephen Curry is, I don't really care who wins this series. I just want one thing to be known across NBA, fandom, and that is Stephen Curry is really, really good, people. And why should I even have to say that? People should get that. But people still underrate Stephen Curry to me. It's unbelievable. People, he's gotten even better over the past 3 years. Yes, Kevin Durant is now playing with him, right? And because of that, we haven't seen as much Stephen Curry as we've seen, when he was unanimous MVP. But Steph Curry's gotten even better. He's gotten even more efficient. He's more selective with these shots. He's better in the mid-range. He's better close to the basket. He's a better finisher, better passer, better rebounder. He's a better player. And I want people to just respect that and respect him and realize the fact that he let KD come on this team. And if KD would not have joined the Golden State Warriors, I believe that the Warriors would have won the past 2 years anyway. I believe that, yes, they gave up that 3-1 lead to the Cleveland Cavaliers. Yes, absolutely, I give you that. They had a 3-1 lead against the Cleveland Cavaliers. They would have beat them the next year. They would have been so pissed that they gave up that 3-1 lead. They would have came back the next year. They would have beat them. Why? Because Steph would have improved, and he has, as you're seeing. Clay would have improved. Draymond would have improved. And if they didn't sign Kevin Durant, they would have signed someone else. They would have went in and go sign like a Danilo Gallinari or some other small forward to come in here, because remember, they had Harrison Barnes and they let him walk. So they would have got another small forward, not of Kevin Durant's level. He would have came in, and I'm of the belief the Warriors would have won the past 2 titles over the Cavs anyway. The Cavs were down 1-3 and they had lost the previous year. So I just want people to respect Steph, and I think he earned a lot of respect tonight, putting up 47 points in the absence of Klay Thompson, Kevin Durant, and Kevon Looney. But I will not excuse Stephen Curry for his poor defensive effort tonight entirely. I will excuse him a little bit because there's only so much he can do. He's so tired. He's exhausting so much in the offensive end. But, a big reason why Lowry was knocking down these threes, Danny Green was knocking down these threes, Steph is just lollygagging back defensively. And again, I know it's because he's exhausting so much offensively. So he gets the least amount of blame on the Warriors today, and it's by far, right? If I were to grade Steph Curry's performance, I give it an A, not an A+, because he didn't have the defensive effort, but an A. And then the next highest score would be Draymond Green with a B. And then no one else gets anything even close to that. Maybe Andre Iguodala gets like a B- or something. And then we have a whole bunch of C's and D's from there. Maybe Bogut gets a B as well because he gave us more than what we even expected of him. But Steph gave it his all, man. I mean, he really did. Without Klay Thompson, he's the number 2 player on this team. Without Klay Thompson, without Kevin Durant, without Kevon Looney, and Jeff Van Goody, I want to say, said this on the broadcast, Yeah, they probably don't make the Western Conference Finals. I want to say probably. I'm wondering if they could have beat. First of all, let's just imagine, okay, if they went through the whole season without Clay and KD. I would imagine they would have made, like, let's say the 4th or 5th seed, maybe, but I don't know. It's just conjecture. Who the hell knows? But yeah, without Kevon Looney, without KD, without Clay, and without a replacement for them, right? Assuming they went the entire season without them for some reason, yeah, they probably may not even make the playoffs, to be honest with you, because the West is so stacked. But just respect Stephen Curry and his abilities. Absolutely, people. He put up 47 tonight. This was LeBron James-esque, right? When LeBron James was carrying the 2015 Cavaliers with Maggie Dellavedova and Timothy Mozgov, this was it. Because if you ask me, what was the difference between Timothy Mozgov and DeMarcus Cousins? Timothy Mozgov in 2015 was better than DeMarcus Cousins tonight. It was better than DeMarcus Cousins tonight. You got Draymond Green acting like Matthew Dellavedova out there. Who else was on that cast team? J.R. Smith, Andre Iguodala or something. Like, it looks like the same thing to me, so just respect Curry. If the Raptors win this series, that's fine. But respect Curry, and as soon as KD leaves, and I still assume he's going to leave, you're going to see the Warriors still compete year in, year out, because primarily of Stephen Curry, who brought this team to 73 wins. You put Clay on another team, put him on the Detroit Pistons, they'll be lucky if they make the playoffs. They'll probably make the playoffs, but they're not going to be no damn title contender. But you put Stephen Curry on the Detroit Pistons, they're the Golden State Warriors. And I believe that firmly. If you put Stephen Curry on the Detroit Pistons today, they're the Golden State Warriors all over again. You put Steph next to Blake Griffin and Andre Drummond, it's over. Why you put Steph on so many teams in this league, he does exactly what he did for the Golden State Warriors. But that's what I believe. But anyway, and someone in the chat said I forgot about Mark. Marc Gasol didn't do that much tonight, but he was impactful. I did mention that it was the 7 players for the Raptors. All 7 got credit because they're the only 7 Raptors that played more than 6 minutes, right? So they're all impactful for sure. So there you go. Those are my thoughts on the Toronto Raptors beating the Golden State Warriors. I fully expect for 2 things to happen primarily in the next game. I expect, and let's go 3 things. I expect for Kevin Durant to not play. I think he will not play Game 4. I expect Kevin Durant to return Game 5, right? And I expect for Klay Thompson to return in the next game. And I finally expect for the Golden State Warriors to win Game 4. However, it's going to be close. It's going to be a nail-biter. It could potentially go to overtime. It's going to be hard-fought, but I do believe it will be the Warriors that win Game 4. If they do not, we'll cross that bridge when we get there because I'll be here live after that game on Friday night, 9 p.m. Eastern. But if they do not, this series will not be over, people. I'll let everyone else fall on that sword. I'll let you do your thing, dog. You go ahead and say that this series is over, blah, blah, blah. We'll see. Okay, it's going to be very fun to watch them enjoying these NBA Finals. Remember, how nice is it to have a competitive NBA Finals? And I really wish that Kevin Durant would not come back. And I really wish that Klay Thompson did not miss this game because there's going to be too many what-ifs from this series, from both sides. So let's say if the Raptors win, the Warriors fans will be saying, well, if we would have had Klay and KD, or even if, let's say Klay comes back and they lose in 7. They'll say if Klay would have played in Game 3, we would have won this series. If the Warriors win, well, the Raptors won't have too many what-ifs. But if the Warriors win, the people will be saying, let's say KD came back and they win games 5, 6, and maybe 7, or maybe just 5, 6, and they win the series. People will be saying, well, they needed KD, and then people were saying, well, it was tied 2-2, and if they would have won, and if Klay would have been healthy for Game 3, then da-da-da-da-da. So we really won't learn too much from this series, unfortunately, because of the return of Kevin Durant and everything, but I'm still enjoying it, and historically, we'll just see what storylines say. So until next time, this has been MJ of Sports Fan Entertainment. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to like, comment, and most importantly, to subscribe. And until next time, I'm out. See you all later.